Hi, so today I thought I would do an interesting topic of why I chose to be pale. And I'm going to show some pictures of how I used to be and explain why I made that choice. But I can't really say it's a choice because that's just my natural skin color, but I've actually made the choice to stop struggling with it and just accepted that I'm pale, and pale is beautiful. So just to give a little bit of background, when I was little, we used to go to Acapulco every year in April. I'm an only child, I would go with my parents, and my dad and I had this little system where we would, sorry, I'm like losing my voice. I'm going to try and make it through the video. We would start off with 15 SPF all over our body, which is crazy because 15 was like the highest SPF at that time that you would use. So 15 was like unheard of. Like, wow, we're going to start off with 15. We're not going to get any color. And so we did that for like 2 days. Then we would go down to 8. Then we would go down to 4, and then we would go down to 2. And we'd always use Coppertone. It had like the best smell. And then we would use that Coppertone nose coat. I don't know, like comment below if anyone remembers that Coppertone nose coat. It was SPF 8, and it was like this green, like neon green gel snot type thing that you put on your nose, and it smelled so good, and I'll never forget it. I even searched on Amazon before this video just to see if they still made it, and they don't, but just the smell of it was unbelievable. So we would put the nose coats, we would put that on our nose. And another thing that we would do was, so we would start off with 15, but inevitably you would always like miss a spot, back of your knees, like a spot on your chest or whatever. So then throughout the vacation, the burned spots, we would continue the 15, and then the rest. So it was like we would have like a diagram of the body. And it's like, okay, use 15 on this spot, 15 on that one, 8's gonna go here, 4 is gonna go here. And then this was the way that we would get tan. And it was so crazy because I remember like that I looked forward to. I just looked forward to, the first thing I would do is I would come home from the vacation and I would look in my mirror to see how tan I was, because you could kind of get an idea, like when you were on the airplane, you could kind of get an idea of how tan you were coming home. And then the most exciting thing when I came home was I would go just to look in the mirror and just see like how tan I was. And that was a good vacation if I would come back and I was tan. And I just remember like always wanting to come home on Sunday night so that I could go to school the next morning like as tan as possible, so that I wouldn't have any time for fading over the weekend before I had to go back to school. So like if we came home on a Friday, that would just suck. That would be like the worst vacation ever, because I wanted to go back as soon as my tan was ripe and ready to be shown, and I'd wear white. I'd have this one outfit I remember is like this white t-shirt with neon spray paint and glitter, and then these matching leggings that would go on it, and that was like my coming home from vacation tan thing. So and that always just made me feel so good. I would get so many compliments when I was tan. And I think, the compliments when I was tan, people always, saying, oh, you look so pretty with a tan and blah, blah, blah. And then also I just remember the same place that we would go to every year. There was this same family from my high school that they were like year round so dark. And so they would stay at the same hotel. And so I remember always like dreading going to the pool that first few days. I mean, not like I ever got really tan, but like the first few days of going to the pool, being completely white in my bathing suit and like saying hi to this whole family who was like already beautiful and dark. So I think like so many of those things just in my childhood kind of made me realize, like, or not made me realize, it made me feel like being tan is healthy and it makes you look good, and people compliment you when you're tan. But when you're pale, like people will look at you at the pool and you feel weird, and you're just not, like, everything looks better with a tan. So that's truly how I grew up. And I remember like in the summers, what I would do is, since we used to go in April, in the summers I would sit out like and study, because I always went to summer school, because of course, I was a nerd. Well, no, I can't say I was a nerd, but I just like to do things over the summer to study. So I would sit outside and I would sit in the sun at the same time as studying. So then, I'd come back to school at least for a few weeks. My tans never lasted long, but a few weeks with some color. And this continued until high school, college. College, I remember just like in between classes, I would go and I would lay out on the quad. And then when I got to medical school, I didn't have time to sit out in the sun. And so I would use self tanner, and like I would go to class like orange. I mean, because the crazy thing was like, I remember I was in the house for like 2 weeks studying, or in my apartment at med school studying for finals. And every day I would like put on the self tanner. And then finally my friends were like, Reed, you're like bright orange right now, because I hadn't gone out in like the sun, for 2 weeks. And then we went to our exam and they're like, you need help. Like you're way too tan. So, and that's when like the whole tanning addiction started. I can say it was an addiction. I felt better being tan. And then the funny thing is, and thank goodness, now I say it's funny, but thank goodness that then one of my boyfriends in residency, who was also my attending, but that's another story. My boyfriend's in residency, he's like, oh, you should just go tanning, in a tanning bed. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. So then I was like, wow, this is great. Like I can go every few weeks for 10 minutes, just lie in a tanning bed. It doesn't interfere with any of my studying. It doesn't take a lot of time. And, I'm just going to go and get a tan through a tanning bed. So I say thank goodness, because thank goodness that was like in med school and I didn't really know about tanning beds. I know that kids now like go to tanning beds in high school. So thank goodness I didn't do that early. I'm upset that I ever did it, but I did it and I'm upset about it, but what can you do? Some things you learn from your mistakes, I guess. And at least I stopped eventually. But, so yes, I would go like in the tanning beds. And then when I was post-call, instead of taking a nap inside, I would go and take a nap outside. And, again, between that, like the tanning, and then I would also do like the cocktail where you would go do the tanning booth and then you would get a spray tan after. It was like as dark as I could possibly be. It was the best. And so then when and I kind of alluded to this in last week's video, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about how random my channel is and why it's so random. But when I was diagnosed with Ehlers Danlos, and then as the years went on, I didn't realize how much it affects the collagen in your skin and how much it affects your skin. And so, I was like, I have to just quit doing this. This is not good for my skin. I remember always giving them, like at the tanning booth, I would give them my credit card and it said MD on it. And I'm like, they must think I'm like crazy. There's all these warnings on the tanning booth about how, you're going to get skin cancer. And here I'm a doctor and I'm giving them my credit card to buy a package of, whatever my monthly subscription was to the tanning salon. So, and I decided, and I really realized, and I think maybe this is a reason why people tan more now, just in general. Maybe you do look better with a tan, but I also had a lot of like sun damage developing, and the tan would cover that up. And every time I would try to quit tanning and be pale, like I didn't like my skin pale. So I decided one day, I'm like, you just have to quit cold turkey. Like you can't keep doing this to your skin. And then my goal became, and that's kind of where my channel is focused, is on skin health. So it wasn't just about, the mental games that were being played about being pale, but it was also the fact that I wanted my skin to be healthy and to look better. And so that's like really the story. And I just remember along the way, I even had a doctor come up to me and he was like, wow, you look better with a tan. And I was like, well, my skin's healthier now, so thanks for that. But yeah, so that's kind of where I go with my channel also, not so much on just, anti-aging and that kind of thing, but I want to talk about skin health. And now my goal is maybe not to look like a bronzed goddess, but to look like, someone that has beautiful pale skin that's that's just as good as it can be. And I realize that I cannot undo all the sun damage that I've done, but at least I can try to do my best. And that's why so much of my channel is focused on skin health and on sunscreen, because sunscreen is my favorite now, and just making my skin as healthy as possible. Let me make sure I got everything. Yeah, so I think I went over everything. I just wrote myself a few notes just to make sure that I covered it all. But comment below if you can relate. I'm sure a lot of people can, and what's helped you with your journey of going from being a bronze goddess to being a pale beauty. All right, see you next week in my next video, and thanks so much for watching. And please do subscribe. I get 1 or 2 new subscribers every week, and that just makes my day. I jump up and down. I get so excited. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and thank you so much for watching.